Hi, I wanted to introduce a story that I wrote to you, and it's called Sleeping Beauty and the God of Death. And so it is a mashup of like a Greek myth underworld story and the fairy tale Sleeping Beauty. And I wrote it for a blog contest, and I really, really liked it. And I kind of sent it around places, and no one ever really picked it up or published it, even though in the blog contest it got an honorable mention. And so I really liked the concept of the story, like the mashing between the Greek underworld and the fairy tale Sleeping Beauty. And so I wrote a novelette, because it's a novelette. And I called it Alderik's Quest. And I'm not going to read Alderik's Quest to you today, but I am going to read the short story that inspired that novelette. And so if you really like this short story that I read, you can go read the novelette. And it's available for purchase on Amazon. All right. Okay, so here we go. Sleeping Beauty and the God of Death. Iktish, god of death, wished for a child to call his own. The father of departed souls longed for one living soul to mold beneath his dark hand. So he took to his side a fair goddess, Ameva, with flower-adorned hair. The wheel of the sky turned many times before Lord Sun shined upon the morn of the child's birth. The subjects of Iktish gathered on the bridge that spans across the river of damned souls and leads to the fields of radiance, awaiting the blessing of the Lord Sun, Lady Moon, and her lesser sisters, stars. Lord Sun announced, "This day a daughter is born to Iktish, Lord of Death, father of departed souls. She shall be called Iridana, perfect in form, sound in mind, whole in body and spirit. May he guide her feet to cross into the fields of radiance when her lifetime is spent. Only those that were good and great during life dwelt among the radiant after death." Lady Moon pronounced, "Protection in the deepest hour, illumination in the darkest night, so long as the sky shows my face. The daughter will be full of truth and grace." High Mistress of the Stars denounced, "In the stars are written the laws that all beings must abide. Iktish, Lord of Death, no life is to belong to you that lives. When the moon is born anew, Ameva will take her to mortal parents." Iktish raged so that the stars shivered in their places, but the law could not be unwritten, nor the sentence undone. So on the eve of the new moon, her mother, Lady Ameva, came to collect her precious daughter, and sent the girl to parents that had prayed for a child for many years. Iktish and his Lady Ameva wept. 16 years passed before Iktish claimed his daughter again. He watched her grow under the hand of mortal parents until he could stand his grief no longer. Longing to know his only daughter, he built a cottage on the edge of death, safe from the river and close to the bridge. He pulled her soul into the fringes of his realm so that she fell into a deathless sleep. Neither living nor dead, her soul wandered realms ruled by the dark-handed one, while her body rested upon a crimson deathbed. The body neither rotted nor decayed. "A spell is cast upon her," cried her mortal mother. "We must consult the king," said her mortal father. So they traveled to the court of the king and told the strange story of their daughter's death. He commanded the body to be brought. The death bier crossed the land until it arrived at the gates of the kingdom. The king found their daughter's frozen sleep to be strange indeed. He consulted Lord Sun, who answered with a silence. He consulted Lady Moon, who answered with a whisper, "The matter rests with the stars." The king consulted the stars, who told him, "The maiden will lie and sleep until she receives a marriage offer from a man suited to her. Only then will she leave her deathless sleep." Many years turned, and many men tried and failed to rouse the maiden from her sleep, until the Sleeping Beauty became a story whispered to hush children into sleep. Days arose a hero of unequaled renown, so that he was rumored to be a son of Lord Sun, giver of life. Alderik was he called, and his deeds were many and great. He was the only hero to cross the bridge of death and return back alive. Eratana spent many years on the brink of death with her father, Lord of Death, and her mother, Ameva. Eratana lived happily there, meeting many souls who approached the bridge destined for good and bad ends. The many stories they told kept her occupied for hours. She saw Alderik as he crossed into the boundary of death, handsome and strong. His countenance showed that he was still among the living. "Leave this place," she commanded. "The living do not belong here." "I cannot go back, for I am on an errand. Why do you linger at the gate?" "My father is Iktish, Lord of Death. He brought me here to dwell with him." "Do you not wish to leave?" he asked. She showed to him the host of living and dead. What could be more interesting than meeting these hosts? Alderik returned from beyond the bridge of death the next day. Eratana saw that his countenance had changed again. The light of life burned brighter in his face than before. He greeted her. "I am Alderik, son of Lord Sun, giver of life." In that moment, Eratana no longer desired to stay among the dead, but to follow Alderik into life, and Alderik did not wish to leave the maiden behind. She told him to find her briar and to awake her by pressing a cup of rose water to her lips. For the first time, Eratana noticed the emptiness of the realm of the dead. She looked anxiously toward life, waiting for Alderik, son of Lord Sun. Eratana called her father to her. "I must go. The hero Alderik calls me to live again." "This man is my great enemy," he said. "He is son of Lord Sun, giver of life. But you are daughter, Iktish, Lord of Death. Is not the day our father and the night our mother? No other man has been so worthy. No other man could keep me from returning to death before my lifetime is full." "You will leave me, daughter?" Iktish asked, pained. "Until my feet cross into the fields of radiance." Eratana left the realm of her father, Lord of Death, and awoke from her sleep. She put her hand into Alderik's. Together they went to his father, Lord Sun, for a blessing. "Alderik, my son, the life in her is heavy with the shadow of death. She is the only woman that can lead my feet across the bridge when the stars decree my time is done. So you will lead the endless life I've granted you, my son. My feet will follow Eratana into the fields of radiance, so that we may never be long apart." Lord Sun nodded. "So let it be done." Lady Moon nodded. "So let it be done." The stars agreed. "So let it be written."
Thanks for listening to my short story. So, yeah, I read it now and I'm like, yeah, no wonder no one picked it up. Like, it's what happened at the end. So she suddenly just likes Alderik for no reason. And why was he there in the first place? And what was he doing? So, the novelette answers all those questions. And I feel like it's really fun. It turns it into a little more of an adventure story, like a Greek myth adventure story, instead of like a little fairy tale story. So, if you liked it and if it caught your interest, I hope you will consider going over to Amazon and buying it. All right, thanks.